I'm speaking to you live and direct from Jerusalem. It's exactly 11 o'clock at night, local time, and as you know, Israel and Iran are currently at war. I want to bring you updates and try to explain what's really happening here from the perspective of someone who's actually here right now. So, as I said, I'm in Jerusalem. I'm not at home. For those of you who are used to my live streams and know where I usually broadcast from, this is not my home. My house doesn't have a fully proper bunker, especially considering that I have 2 kids and my husband is in the army. So I needed to find a safer place for my children. That's why I'm here. The shelter is just a few meters from where I am, where my kids are sleeping. So my kids are sleeping in the bomb shelter. And also, it's important to tell you this. If the siren goes off, I'll drop the live stream, I'll drop everything I'm doing and run to the shelter. So if the live stream is interrupted abruptly, you'll know what's happening. I just wanted to know if you can see and hear me well, since this isn't my usual way of streaming here. So let me know if you can see and hear me well. And then I'll really start talking about this David and Goliath war that we're living through these days and in all the updates. So yes, I see that you are. Yes, you can see and hear well. So we are in a David and Goliath situation for many decades. We're talking about 46 years. Iran in 1979 had a revolution and a radical Islamist terrorist organization took power in Iran in 1979, and since then what they seek is to destroy, to cause terror. Sometimes we don't talk much about Iran's power, but we can't simply ignore the strength they have. Iran is 75 times bigger than Israel in territory size. I mean, Israel is an extremely small country and Iran is a gigantic country, literally 75 times bigger than Israel. And besides that, they have 9 times more population than Israel. If we're saying that the population of Israel is around 10 million inhabitants, counting its entire population, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone in Israel is around 10 million inhabitants, then we're saying that Iran has 9 times more, 90 million inhabitants. So it really is a David and Goliath fight. And that's why it's important to highlight. And not only that, it's not just that they are big, they have a large population, they have one of the largest oil reserves in the world, and they sell this oil mainly to China. And they use this oil money not to improve the lives of their population, obviously, like any terrorist group. Also, the Revolutionary Guard, which is actually who rules Iran, they don't invest in the well-being of their population. Instead, they invest in terrorism. And guys, what I'm going to tell you today, a lot of these things are not just my opinion. I make a point of bringing sources, not Israeli, not Jewish, to bring you external sources from international organizations. So you can see that this is not a matter of opinion, this is a matter of facts. It's a fact that Iran is much bigger than us, both in territory and in population. And it's also a fact that the Iranian government is terrorist. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard is considered a terrorist group by Israel, but not only by Israel, by the United States, by Canada, by other Western countries, and also by the Middle East itself. Saudi Arabia considers the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization. Bahrain, which is another country here in the Gulf, also considers them a terrorist organization. So when we say it's a fight between good and evil, a fight between Israel and the terrorists, it's not just Israel's opinion, it's the international opinion of good people who understand what's happening. They consider Iran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, as a terrorist organization. That's why, even though for the first time in many years we're fighting a war between countries, it's not a war between equals. And Israel and Iran, or rather not the people of Iran, but Israel and this Iranian terrorist government, are different in many ways, and we're going to talk about that today as well. But what I wanted to start by telling you is about the name of this war. For those who don't know, every time there is a war or a major military operation, usually a name is given to that operation. So the war that started now in the early hours from Thursday to Friday, Israel time at 3 in the morning, this war is called Am Kelavi. Am Kelavi can be translated as a lion that rises, rising lion. So if you saw this name in the media, that's the official name of the war, Am Kelavi, the lion people rising. It's a name that sounds a bit strange, but there's a biblical reason for the name of the war we're currently experiencing. We're going to go back now, way back in the past. We're going to talk now about the book of Numbers, from the time when the people of Israel were leaving slavery in Egypt. And then the people enter the promised land and begin their conquests, and they really start to gain a lot of strength. So that's the historical context, the exodus from Egypt and everything that happens during those 40 years in the desert and after that. What happens is that a king named Balak, and if I pronounce it wrong in Portuguese, I apologize to you, but King Balak of Moab hears about the power and strength of the people of Israel, and he becomes very afraid. Even though Israel hadn't done absolutely anything against him, he starts to fear the strength of the people of Israel, their connection with God, and that's why he decides to curse the people of Israel. In what way? Through the prophets. He then chooses a prophet named Balaam, and he goes and says, "Oh, Balaam, you are going to curse Israel, and that way we will be able to defeat Israel." Balaam, then he is prevented by God from cursing Israel, and the king insists, takes him right in front of the people of Israel and practically forces him to curse Israel. And when Balaam, this prophet, opens his mouth, the words are not his, the words are from the angel of God, and instead of cursing Israel, he will bless Israel. And the words in Hebrew, I have them right here next to me. There is no people like a lion that rises and calls. This translated into Portuguese is, "Behold, the people will rise like a lioness and lift themselves up like a lion." This is in Numbers 23:24, and that is exactly the name of the war. It means the people will rise like a lion. So this connects us directly to what the prophets said in biblical times. And instead of cursing the people of Israel are blessed by him. And we can go back even further when we talk about Genesis 12, one of the first passages in the Bible. In Genesis 12, it is written, "I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. In you, all the families of the earth will be blessed," and I truly believe in that. Because we see the peoples who try to curse Israel. What we really see is the suffering that these leaders cause to their own people. I mean, Iran invests billions of dollars a year to finance terrorist groups that aren't even Iranian. I mean, they finance the Houthis in Yemen, they finance Hezbollah in Lebanon, they finance Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And obviously they also have their own Quds force, which is an armed terrorist branch of the Revolutionary Guard. How many billions of dollars do they invest in this per year? Think about how many hospitals, schools, how much good could be done for the Iranian people or even to help others. Because instead of investing in terrorism in the Gaza Strip, why not invest to help the people of Gaza? Because instead of helping the people of Yemen, 500,000 people died in Yemen in the civil war of a war caused by Iran. This war has absolutely nothing to do with Israel. This civil war inside Yemen has nothing to do with Israel, and the people of Yemen are suffering. Children in Yemen are dying of hunger, and Iran, instead of helping the people of Yemen who are in such need, the only ones who receive money in Yemen from Iran are the terrorists, to launch missiles against Israel, to terrorize the families who live here. And because of that, everything we've seen in this more than a year and a half of war is a direct consequence of what Iran did. Since 1979, Iran has said that the West is like Satan. The great Satan is the United States. The little Satan is Israel. And they want to make a Shiite Islamic revolution in the world. And they see Israel as an obstacle to this Islamization. Sorry guys, it's late here in Israel. I'm stressed with everything, but they want to carry out this Islamization of the world, of the East and the West. They see Israel as an obstacle, of course, that's it. And that's why they seek the destruction of Israel through these means. We say that Iran is like a people who have arms, and instead of attacking Israel directly, they use these arms, and that's why Israel has also never attacked Iran directly. What happened is that in 2024, Iran did attack Israel directly twice, and now Israel is retaliating against these attacks. Not just these specific attacks, but everything Iran has done since 1979. Terrorist attacks against Jewish communities, against Israeli organizations around the world. So the time for retaliation has come. But if we're talking since 1979, a lot has happened. Why is this happening right now? Why did the attack start about 3 days ago, from Thursday night to Friday? Because if we say this war has been going on for more than a year and a half, what exactly triggered it now? There are some important points about why this is happening right now. First, because again, it's not an Israeli organization, it's not a Jewish organization. The International Atomic Energy Agency, which is an international organization that tries to control the use of atomic energy, mainly atomic weapons, they came to the conclusion, they made an official report, that Iran has enough enriched uranium to produce not one, not two, not three, but 9 nuclear bombs. I mean, Iran could, in a matter of a few days, create 9 nuclear bombs. And as we will talk about in a little while, Iran has no fear, no sense of responsibility, and no shame in attacking the civilian population with ballistic missiles. Nothing stops them from attacking with atomic bombs either. To attack with atomic bombs? Just a second, everyone. Here, done. I apologize. Iran, they are attacking the civilian population all the time. And because of that, if they had access to atomic bombs, they would definitely use them against Israel, and not just against Israel, but against Saudi Arabia, against the United States. So just a second, everyone. So, sorry, I'm reading the chat a little, and there are some people really... Well, let's go. I know that for those who are far away, sometimes it's very easy to be fooled by false advertising. So even people here in the chat, the vast majority of people understand the truth, but there's always a small fraction that doesn't. Trying to stop those who speak the truth, but let's go. I'm going to focus now, guys. Chat, do your thing. The International Atomic Energy Agency announced in May, we're talking just a few weeks ago, that Iran had already enriched enough uranium to create 9 nuclear bombs, and that they could do it in just a few days. How does Iran operate? They created several uranium enrichment sites, Because if you put your entire nuclear facility in one place, it's very easy for Israel to go and destroy the nuclear program. So what they did was they took this nuclear program and split it into many different locations across Iran. Remember, Iran is a huge country, and these different facilities worked in parallel to enrich uranium enough to create a bomb. In various facilities, they produced small amounts of uranium, enriched more of it, made warheads to contain the material, and prepared rockets for launching. So they did all of this, and everything was ready, just a matter of days away from creating this nuclear bomb, or even the possibility of creating up to 9 nuclear bombs. This is not just Israel's opinion, but an international one. And we say that Iran has a sword in its hand, and that sword was getting closer to Israel's neck. Israel and the world, the civilized world, cannot in any way accept an Iran ruled by the Ayatollahs, by this terrorist regime with a nuclear bomb. For those who can imagine what it would be like if Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, the terrorist group that burned people alive in cages, burned people alive, beheaded, committed acts of cannibalism, all documented. Now everyone, imagine Islamic State of Iraq and Syria with nuclear bombs. Exactly the same thing. The only difference is that Islamic State of Iraq and Syria is much more disorganized than the current Iranian regime. But ideologically, they are very similar, with the difference that one is Sunni and the other is Shia. So allowing a terrorist group, an organization internationally recognized as terrorist, to have a nuclear bomb would be something terrible and unimaginable, and that's why Israel was forced to defend itself, to remove that sword that was hanging over our necks. And I know it's terrible, and it is. Any human life lost in a war is terrible, whether it's Israeli, Palestinian, Iranian, Yemeni, Christian, Jewish, or Muslim. No life should be lost in a conflict. But we have to understand that Iran reached a point where there was nothing else that could be done. We can't wait any longer, because if we wait weeks or months, this would end with a nuclear bomb being dropped here in the Middle East, or even in other places. And that's why Israel attacked Iran at this moment. That's why it wasn't done before. That's why it hasn't been done since 1979, because Israel really reached the limit and many things were tried to prevent this. The United States attempted to negotiate with Iran, who signed agreements promising to halt uranium enrichment and adhere to certain terms. However, despite signing these international agreements, they burned those international agreements and did whatever they wanted. They signed agreements committing not to make nuclear bombs and kept making them. And they kept going and going and going, and we got to the point where Israel was forced to attack Iran. And that's how we got to today, or rather 3 days ago, with Israel attacking Iran. And when Israel attacked Iran, the goal was very clear: to remove this sword from Israel's neck. The first and main goal is to put an end to Iran's nuclear program. They attacked first all the possible sites that could be targeted, not all the possible sites connected to this nuclear program. That was done. Many sites connected to the nuclear program were attacked. Also, the people in charge of building that atomic bomb were also eliminated. So when we're talking now about the scientists who were in charge of building the bomb, the chiefs, the army generals who were preparing the bomb, so that was the first objective of this. Israel doesn't have the military capability to end the entire program. That's pretty clear. But Israel does have the possibility to push them away. We don't know if it will be weeks, months, or years, but we can push them away from their goal of building a nuclear weapon. So we are moving them away from that possibility. We still don't know, at least those of us who are not part of the army or the government, we civilians, don't know yet how much that has been pushed back. But we do know that this is indeed being achieved. The second objective was to destroy the missile and drone infrastructure that Iran uses to launch attacks against Israel. Iran, as we mentioned already, launched attacks against Israel last year. Iran also prepares these missiles, launches these missiles, these drones, and sends them to other countries to be used against Israel. For example, the Iranian militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen. So all the Houthis, everyone, are an organization that does not have the capacity to produce high technology. Everything they launch against Israel, someone has to give it to them, and the one providing it to them is Iran. So Israel, the second objective was to destroy those rocket launches, those ballistic missiles, everything they have to attack Israel, precisely to, once again, remove this sword from Israel's neck. And it's an objective that is being achieved. The high-ranking terrorists of the Iranian regime are also being eliminated. So yes, no leader who is only a politician has been eliminated. What is being done is eliminating people connected to war, weapons, and especially terrorism. That's what Israel is doing in Iran. And that's the big difference between Israel and the regime of Zayed al-Assad. Israel is carrying out surgical strikes against targets, nuclear, and also military ones. On the other hand. But guys, actual surgical operations. Going in and trying not to have collateral damage to the innocent civilian population of Iran. Iranians are friends of Israel. They are a population friendly to Israel. Dear, intelligent, studious, historical. We're talking about the Persians, folks. But when this regime of the Ayatollahs took over, it really changed the country 180 degrees. They even changed the country's flag. They removed the lion, which was the national symbol of Persia, got rid of the king, the Shah, and simply destroyed the country that existed and created an Islamic regime in its place. And Israel really tries to do this surgically. We are discussing a war, and innocent civilians will inevitably die. Israel tries to minimize civilian casualties, but obviously we're not going to say that this won't happen because war happens. And that's terrible. That's why this war should never have happened. If Iran hadn't been trying to destroy Israel since 1979, this war would never have started. But unfortunately, Iran forced Israel into this war. And meanwhile, Iran is attacking Israel. They have already carried out 9 rounds of attacks in the last 3 days, and they are attacking almost exclusively civilian targets. They are launching attacks against cities, holy places, everyone. Jerusalem was attacked. Iran, in previous rounds as well, launched ballistic missiles against the old city of Jerusalem. Now imagine that, everyone. The old city of Jerusalem, the holy sites, not only... Just a second. Not only holy for the Jews, for the Christians, and also for the Muslims. I mean, Iran is willing to destroy Muslim holy sites just to destroy. So they launch with the aim of killing civilians, and Israel is doing everything to protect its innocent population. We are very well instructed here by the government on what to do, where to go. Shelters, billions of dollars are invested every year in bomb shelters. Practically every place here in Israel has shelters, some more comfortable, others less, some easier and others less. For example, in my house, I have to leave the building to go to the shelter, me with 2 small children. That's why I prefer to go to a place more suitable, because running in the middle of the night with 2 children, going down floors, leaving the building is something complicated. But still, even though my building is an old building, Jerusalem has bomb shelters. And that's why we are very well instructed on what to do to preserve human lives. But hundreds, more than 250 missiles, drones, and attacks were carried out in 9 rounds against Israel. And unfortunately, yes, people did die. By the time I started this live at 11 at night, 14 people had died in Israel. We had more than 390 injured in Israel, And despite everything Israel does to protect its population, there's no way to protect everyone completely. There's no bubble that can protect Israel. And that's why Iran keeps trying, and eventually they succeed. Unfortunately, 14 people died, including children, because Iran doesn't target military bases. Iran targets urban centers. Most of the missiles launched so far were aimed at Greater Tel Aviv, which is the area with the highest population density in Israel, and also a very young city. And that's why we saw that missiles did fall in Greater Tel Aviv and also in Rehovot, the city where I lived for a while when I was studying in Rehovot. Fell in Rehovot. It also fell in the Haifa area. I mean, we're seeing that it fell. And I want to talk especially about a family. Tamra. Tamra is a small village nearby. A small village. There are about 25,000 people living in Tamra. Tamra is close to Haifa, and a missile fell on a family's house and killed 4 women from the same family. The mother's name is Manar. And with her were her 2 daughters, Hala, who is 20 years old, and Shada, who is 13 years old. And there was also another female relative from the same family. 4 women from the same family passed away, and really, the father, Raja, he was also in the house along with another daughter. He managed to escape. He was able to save one of his daughters, and his wife and 2 of his daughters died in this attack, along with another person, another woman from the family. I mean, what was Iran's need to attack a family, a beautiful and wonderful family? I heard the family's interviews here in the Israeli media. This is a family of Arab Christians, and they never really did any harm to anyone. You see them talking about the love and affection they had for these women, and their lives was simply taken away just because they were in Israel. They are Arabs, they are Christians. And we see that the Islamic terrorist regime has no love for anyone. They attack Arab villages, they attack large population centers, Iranian missiles have also fallen in territories of the Palestinian Authority. We saw last time that they killed a young man from Gaza. A Muslim Palestinian from Gaza was killed by one of the ballistic missiles launched by Iran. Some of the missiles also fall in the Palestinian Authority. I mean, at the beginning of this round, the missile launched by the Houthis, who are this terrorist group financed and organized by Iran, launched a missile that fell in the Palestinian Authority and injured 3 children. They were 6, 7, and 12 years old. And why? What did these children do? They did absolutely nothing. And that's it. We see this hatred that Iran has against everything and everyone. And for all the people who wonder why this war is happening, it's obvious why this war is happening. This war is happening because of Iran. Because now, for all the people who keep saying that Israel is attacking Iran, yes, Israel is attacking Iran. First, only military targets. And second, for everyone who is complaining about Iran, for everyone who is complaining that Israel attacked Iran, I want to know where you were when Iran attacked Israel twice last year. I want to know where you were when thousands and thousands and thousands of rockets fell on Israel in the last year and a half. And not only that, the massacre of October 7th, where 1,200 innocent people died, was not the beginning of this war. This goes back way, way, way before. And people easily rush to look for justifications. Iran has already said what they want. They spoke clearly. The Iranian leadership said, we're going to wipe Israel off the map. They call us every imaginable name, and not because Israel did this, not because of the Palestinian cause. Iran doesn't care about the Palestinian cause. They've never cared about the Palestinian cause. The Iranian war, the war of the Iranian government of the Ayatollahs against Israel, is a religious war. They don't accept the fact that Israel is not Islamic. They don't accept the fact that Israel is a democratic country. They don't accept our values. They don't accept your values. And as they declare war against Israel, they also declare it against the United States. The only thing they know is that the United States has even greater military power than Israel. And here comes the question, where is this going? Where is this war heading? And the answer is we don't know. The reality is that life in Israel has come to a halt. All essential services are operating, so supermarkets, pharmacies, and buses are running. I mean, everything that is essential in the country is working, but all non-essential services have been suspended. There are no schools, no daycare centers, shopping malls are closed, Ben Gurion Airport is closed. I mean, everything that is not essential is closed at this moment. The airport is also closed because of the missiles for the safety of the people of Israel, and not just the people of Israel, but also tourists who come and go are a priority for the country. That's why, as a precaution, Israel has closed the airport for the next few days. So life in the country has come to a halt, but here, as Balaam said, the people will rise like a lioness and lift themselves up like a lion. Israel will rise like a lion. And we say that part of Israel's protection is its civilian population, because we know how to protect ourselves, that every mother knows how to take care of her children, that we will do everything to take care of our families while we wait for the Israeli army to drive this danger away from us. So that right now we are paying a very high price for the safety of our children. Because what is being done today will guarantee the safety of Israel for the next 5, 20, 30 years and forever. And only 100% will Israel truly be safe, as it should be, when the Ayatollah's regime falls and terrorism is stopped in the world. And that means all the terrorist organizations and the financiers and supporters of terrorism, those who support, those who finance, and also those who defend them on social media and all of that. What is being done now is something for the long term. At the moment, life in Israel is on hold, and we are waiting for this operation to continue. We don't know how long it will last, but here, what is expected is that at least for the next few days, the situation will remain the same. That's why the country is at a standstill. The government's instructions are to stay close to shelters, but the country is not in panic. The supermarkets are open. I even went to the supermarket today because, as you saw, I had to move with my children. So I went to a nearby supermarket and it's stocked. There's no panic. It's busier than usual, obviously, but you can see the resilience of the people of Israel, everyone helping each other. The number of messages I've received from people who know my husband is in the army asking if I need help is incredible. Even Moti, for those who know my cameraman, really helped me a lot with the kids, running with them to the shelter because physically it's hard for me to go with both of them in the short amount of time I have. So really thank you to Moti and thank you to everyone who offered to help. And also for those who asked if I am going to leave Israel, the answer is no. Israel is my home in happiness, in sadness, in health, in sickness, in war, and in peace. We are here, and Israel is our land. The goal of terrorism is to destroy us physically, emotionally, and spiritually, but we know they won't succeed. Having said that, what we really need to do is pray for peace, pray for the well-being of the Iranian people who are good people. They are a wonderful nation, and we know that many times a country's government does not represent its people. A great example of this is also Iran, whose population is mostly good and friendly toward Israel. But unfortunately, the government does not represent them. We have to pray for the well-being of the Iranian people, pray for the well-being of the Israeli people, for everyone who lives here in the Middle East, our neighbors as well, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt. The Palestinians pray for the well-being of all of us, and one day peace will come to the Middle East. With help from God, and for that to really happen, the terrorist government has to be overthrown. And just like David, even though he was much smaller in physical size, he had God by his side. And we know that God is on our side, on the right side of history. And I really feel sorry for those who one day, 5, 10, 20 years from now, will wake up and realize they were on the wrong side of history. But just as many supported the Nazi regime in Germany while they massacred Jews, we see that nowadays too, while many want to destroy the only Jewish state in the world, there are a lot of people supporting them. And history will tell who was right in this story. And we know that the ones who are right in this story are not the terrorists. I really appreciate those who watched, share the truth, and I'll see you here at some point when it's possible. I can't tell you exactly, but as soon as possible, we'll be back to update you on the news from Israel. Shalom.